There comes a moment in life when the fear of being judged becomes heavier than the pain of failure itself. Most people spend years protecting a reputation they secretly do not even enjoy carrying. They wake up every morning performing for an invisible audience, terrified that one mistake could destroy the image they worked so hard to build. But what if the collapse of that image is not the end of your story? What if losing your reputation is actually the beginning of your freedom? That idea sounds dangerous because society teaches people to worship approval. From childhood, people are rewarded for fitting in, staying predictable, and keeping others comfortable. The moment someone falls, gets rejected, loses money, fails publicly, or becomes the subject of criticism, the world suddenly acts as if that person has lost value. Yet Dr. Grandpa Henry once explained that the strange thing about public judgment is that it only controls people who are still asking permission to become themselves. The day your reputation breaks apart is often the first day you stop living for the applause of strangers. Suddenly, there is nothing left to protect. No fake image, no exhausting performance, no prison built from expectations, and that is where real transformation quietly begins. Some of the strongest people alive were once humiliated, mocked, abandoned, or misunderstood. Before they became powerful, they became exposed. Before they found peace, they lost the approval they once thought they needed to survive. That experience changes a human being in a deep psychological way, because once you survive embarrassment, rejection loses its power over you. Once people have already criticized you, your fear of criticism weakens. Once society has already doubted you, you stop wasting energy trying to convince everyone to believe in you. And in that moment, a hidden door opens inside the mind. A person who no longer fears public opinion becomes incredibly dangerous to mediocrity because now they can reinvent themselves without shame. They can start over at 40, 50, or 60 without worrying about looking foolish. They can change careers, change habits, leave toxic relationships, rebuild their finances, and chase impossible dreams because the chains of social approval have finally snapped. Most people never reach that level of freedom because they spend their entire lives protecting an identity that no longer serves them. They become prisoners of old expectations. But when reputation disappears, reinvention becomes possible. And the truth that scares society the most is this: sometimes the greatest gift life can give a person is the complete destruction of the false image they were never meant to carry forever. What makes this journey even more painful is that reputation loss rarely happens quietly. It usually arrives through betrayal, failure, gossip, financial collapse, divorce, public mistakes, or moments when life suddenly strips away the mask a person spent years building. One day people praise you, and the next day they speak your name with disappointment. Friends become distant. Family members begin questioning your decisions. The same crowd that once celebrated your success suddenly watches your struggle like entertainment. That emotional shock can destroy a person internally because human beings naturally crave acceptance. The mind begins replaying conversations, imagining judgment, and wondering if life will ever feel normal again. Many people become trapped in that stage for years because they believe their reputation was their identity. But Dr. Grandpa Henry often warned that the most dangerous prison in life is the prison of other people's opinions. When your self-worth depends entirely on how strangers see you, your peace becomes fragile. Every compliment controls you. Every criticism wounds you. Every rumor steals part of your confidence. And yet, hidden inside that painful collapse is a lesson most people never discover until it is too late. The world was never going to love you consistently anyway. Public opinion changes like weather. People admire success until success threatens their own insecurities. People support dreams until those dreams become uncomfortable to witness. The painful truth is that some people secretly prefer the version of you that stays small because your growth reminds them of their own fear. That realization changes everything. Suddenly, the desperate need to be understood begins fading away. A new kind of strength slowly appears. Not loud strength, but calm strength. The kind of strength that no longer needs applause to continue moving forward. And this is where the suspense of transformation truly begins, Because the person who loses their reputation stands at a dangerous crossroads. One path leads toward bitterness, shame, and permanent defeat. The other path leads toward reinvention. Most people watching from the outside cannot tell which direction someone will choose. They assume the story is over because they only see the collapse. They do not see the rebuilding happening in silence. They do not see the nights spent learning, reflecting, healing, and rediscovering purpose. They do not see the painful but necessary death of the old identity. And while the outside world keeps replaying your worst chapter, something powerful starts happening internally. You begin caring less about fitting in and more about becoming real. You stop performing. You stop pretending. You stop apologizing for evolving. There is a strange freedom that comes when you realize your reputation has already been damaged beyond repair in the eyes of certain people. Suddenly, you are free to take risks you were once terrified to take, free to speak honestly, free to build differently, free to become unrecognizable from the person who once begged for acceptance. And in that freedom, something extraordinary starts awakening, a version of yourself that could never have been born while you were still addicted to approval. The most powerful comebacks in life are rarely built by people who are constantly protected by public approval. They are built by individuals who survive humiliation and discover they were still alive afterward. That experience creates emotional endurance that cannot be taught in comfort. Once you realize the world did not end after people judged you, ignored you, mocked you, or doubted you, fear begins losing control over your decisions, and that is the moment true personal freedom starts entering your life. Many people spend decades asking themselves what others will think before making every major move. They silence their ideas, delay their dreams, and abandon their purpose simply to avoid criticism. But the tragedy is that trying to please everyone eventually destroys the relationship a person has with themselves. Deep down, they know they are living a performance instead of a life. Dr. Grandpa Henry believed that some people must lose their reputation before they can finally meet their real identity. That statement sounds harsh until life proves it true. Sometimes the version of you that society applauded was never the version meant to fulfill your purpose. Sometimes the collapse was necessary because the old identity had become too small for your future. The pain of being misunderstood becomes the fire that burns away fake attachments. Slowly, clarity replaces confusion. You stop asking how to look successful and begin asking how to become fulfilled. You stop chasing validation and begin chasing truth. That shift changes everything, because fulfillment grows in authenticity, not performance. The world may still remember your failures, but your future no longer depends on their memory. The beautiful thing about reinvention is that it does not require permission. You do not need universal approval to begin again. You do not need everyone to believe in your comeback before taking the first step forward. In fact, some of the greatest transformations happen quietly while the world assumes nothing is changing. Day by day, discipline replaces self-pity. Wisdom replaces insecurity. Courage replaces fear. And eventually, the same person once broken by public judgment becomes emotionally untouchable because they are no longer controlled by external opinion. They understand something. Most people never learn reputation is temporary, but character is built in private. Public image rises and falls with trends, gossip, and perception, but inner strength becomes permanent once it is earned through suffering. That is why losing your reputation can become one of the greatest hidden gifts of life. It forces you to stop worshiping appearances and start building substance. It teaches you that peace is more valuable than popularity. It reveals that freedom begins the moment you stop needing everyone to approve of your existence. And maybe the greatest revenge against judgment is not proving people wrong at all. Maybe it is becoming so deeply connected to your purpose that other people's opinions no longer have the power to define your future. If you are benefiting from our topics, please subscribe, like, and turn on the bell notification so you can see our new videos early.